Welcome back.
Welcome back, Ashe, Ashe.
Welcome back to Astral Relaxation. I am Tashanae.
And I am Tamara.
And come take a trip with us for just a little bit. Come on, step into the astral realm with us for just a minute. We are about to have a discussion. We're excited to bring you our second episode of Astral Relaxation. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate you.
Thank you for coming and being with us and laying conversation with us.
For sure.
Okay, so today's topic.
Yes, today's topic is a big one.
Yes, and it's so crazy because this entire week, a lot of things have been surrounding this topic.
Yeah.
And that is toxic masculinity.
Toxic masculinity. Men do not leave. I see you already trying to sneak out. Come back. It's not time to leave. It's time to listen. We got some things to talk about. We need to discuss, and we will not be bashing men here. We will not be bashing men.
We just be telling the truth.
We're just gonna talk some real shit. We're gonna talk some real shit right now about toxic masculinity.
Exactly.
So I wanted to open it up by just sharing the definition of toxic masculinity for people who might not know exactly what that means in detail. So a quick brief explanation. Toxic masculinity is thus defined by adherence to traditional male gender roles that consistently stigmatize and limit the emotions boys and men may comfortably express while elevating other emotions such as anger.
And you know what's so crazy? Somebody had said this today and it was like, I wonder if men realize anger is an emotion, because a lot of times they'll try to be like, oh, we're not emotional beings.
Yes.
But a lot of the times when you see like people that call themselves alpha males, they always express themselves out of anger, or they always lash out at anger, and it's just like, maybe that's an emotion though. If you were logical, you would know how to control your emotions and be like, I'm coming from this standpoint where it's not like an opinion based off of how you feel.
Right.
It's more so like, well, statistics, or this is like generally what happens, and you go by that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not gonna get in your feelings about something somebody said or whatever, you know, especially if you're calling yourself that. It just doesn't make sense, and a lot of times it's just contradictory, and it kind of be funny.
Yeah.
Because
it do be a little funny. Like, honestly, you can point that out a mile away. Like, the toxic masculinity is seeping out of your pores. You know what I'm saying? But some examples of toxic masculinity would be like, obviously, those alpha males. Like, that's a great example. What we're seeing right now on TikTok or like in other places of men who really are trying to force their manliness onto everyone else and how manly they are about everything. It's to obviously a toxic level of manliness because there's no balance. That's what happens with toxic masculinity. It sways too much in one direction. No one's saying it's not okay to be a man and be manly, but there's a line between masculine versus toxic masculinity. Once it becomes toxic by not balancing out your emotions, like finding an outlet for your anger or reasons for why you feel stigmatized or stuck to these gender norms. And a lot of times that comes from other men. We did have a question here which was like, do you think that men push toxic masculinity more on men or women?
I think men, because a lot of the times we'll try to get them to get there. Like, I don't know how many times I've been in a relationship or just been talking to a guy and I'll try to go there and they just completely dismiss it. Or you'll try to ask them questions, deep questions about their family or how they grew up and things like that, and a lot of times they don't want to go there. And it also depends on how they grew up. Like, whichever parent perpetuated that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's the dad, sometimes it's the mom.
Yeah.
You know, when they cry, oh, you a boy,
it starts with as a child.
Yeah, so
the way that you're getting talked to as a child can create that, because a lot of times, especially in Black households, it's not okay for men to want to play with dolls, or it's not okay for boys to cry. It's not okay for boys to have the same emotions that little girls can have, which and teasing your little boy and being like, oh, you're acting like a girl, stop being a girl, you're being a sissy or whatever, that creates that. Like, literally from that time, that's how that shit starts, with that type of behavior and language that's spoken to young boys.
Exactly. And also when it comes to the expression, like, a lot of the time, you know, when parents, they grow up a certain way, so they perpetuate that onto you. Because I've dated a couple of guys that were very, I don't want to say feminine, because there's a thing where you can be, oh, like, you can be in certain emotions. Like, it doesn't just have to be anger. Like, for instance, you date a person if they're very victim mode, or they find everything offensive, or they don't have no boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because they never set any up for themselves. So now, and I've realized, I don't know what it is, but it's a lot of guys that do this, and I guess it's because sometimes women are afraid to kind of say no sometimes because of how men react, and it's getting worse in a way, because a lot of guys will take offense to you not being interested in them, and it's just like, it has nothing to do with you. Like, what if I'm just taking? What if I just don't want to be with anybody right now? What if I enjoy being single?
Yeah.
What are they gonna do with you? Me saying no to you doesn't mean you're any worth. Like, your worth is less than what it was before you even approached me.
Yeah, but that brings us back to the topic, because I think that men perpetuate that onto other men with the teasing of like, oh, you haven't got laid yet, or like, you know, the boy conversations that happen from the time that they're young and teasing each other about certain shit. Oh, you're acting like a girl. That influences little boys more than what their parents say to them.
Yeah.
Like, their friends and what their friends are saying is going to definitely have a big part in their personality and them trying to impress the other men. And that's why they be sticking together. Alpha males stick together, which doesn't make sense, because if you're an alpha, you can't be with a whole bunch of other alphas. Yeah, but we'll act like it makes sense for just a second. But a whole bunch of alpha males, they flock together because they'll all, like, just like anybody really, they flock together because they all have the same mindset. They all think the same way, in that way of like, oh, if she's fat, then she's obviously not a good quality woman type shit. Like, where did y'all even come up with that?
Or they have issues with their mother, and they'll like, what's the word for it? They'll project it onto other women. I've seen that many times.
Yeah.
Also dated a guy who was like that.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I did nothing to you, so why are you treating me like this?
Right. I would say women play a big part too, though.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of women out there who do abide by those stereotypical, like, gender norms. Like, you're the man, you have to provide, you have to, like, you have to this, you have to that. So that's why I say it does come from both parties. When you have your boys telling you this is what a man is, and then you have your woman telling you this is what a man is.
But here's my thing. When it comes to alpha males, sometimes the shit they be saying don't be making no damn sense. Because they'll be like, oh, nobody wants a woman with a college degree, da-da-da-da-da, but at the same time, you want her to be making a certain type of salary or bringing money in just like you.
Tell me how it makes sense.
Are we going
they
to
don't
do that?
Want women.
Yeah, it's like,
they don't want women. Because
like,
it's never good enough. It'd be like, oh, well, if she doesn't have nothing going for herself, then obviously I'm not going to talk to her. But then let her be overqualified for the job and be making more money than you and having a better job than you. Oh, you're undesirable now. Oh, no man's going to want to be with you now because you already got everything. I saw a post the other day that said, the post that I said, if you got a house, don't even worry about it. He don't want you. If you got a house,
that means that I was doing what I needed to do as an adult.
But how contradictory is it that, oh, he don't want you if you got a house, but he also don't want to buy you a house?
And they want to be traditional, but then call you a gold digger for going by traditional things, like.
But we're not bashing men.
Yeah.
These are observations.
Yeah, exactly. Like, clearly. They'll be like, oh, I want a woman to cook and clean, da 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 da. And I'll, like, but you have to take care of her, though. Because she can't just be at home cooking and cleaning. And then what?
It's almost as if they feel like they just deserve it and they don't have to do anything for it. That's the toxic part. Like, I'm the man, bow down to me. But really, if you really want to be stereotypical about it, or like take it back to real traditional being a man, you should be the one out there doing all the hustling. If you really wanted to take it back to traditional man, I should be sitting at home doing nothing. Sure. While you're out at war.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because back in the day, them men was out on duty.
Baby, they
was out there.
As soon as they started,
and they wives was at home doing nothing, taking care of the kids, cooking and cleaning, but doing nothing in their heads. Mm-hmm. But they still want a woman to invest. What do you bring to the table? Oh, if we're going real traditional, I really should only need my body to bring to the table so you can impregnate me. And I can have your baby.
It just be weird because it's like,
you know what I'm saying?
And then when it comes to the bring to the table, nobody ever talks about anything beyond like physical things, like like of course that's important. Like you want to make sure all that is secure, but it's just like, what about emotion wise, mental wise, spiritual wise? Like we never want to talk about that,
right? And
that's just as important, if not more, because it's gonna help sustain the relationship when things go left.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like those are very important topics. It thinks it's like, are you compatible with the person?
Yeah.
Or do you guys have a lot of things in common? Like things like that, because chemistry is cute and all that, and being like, oh, he can pay my bills, that's nice, but what else?
Right.
Like
that part. Like, and just overall, something that I feel like men could do is just have more of a vulnerability, you know? That's what could definitely balance out the toxic masculinity. Even if you're listening to this and you're like, damn, that's me, low-key, be more vulnerable. Like that comes from the frustration of feeling like you can't express yourself, or feeling like you can't open up about your emotions because of all this shit that was piled on you when you were young, telling you don't talk about it, keep it in, bottle it in, we're not emotional, those are women, they're emotional, we're supposed to just keep it in. That's not good for you, and that's what's creating all that hostility, that's what's creating all that negative energy inside of you. And in order to release it, you have to be vulnerable. Like,
and you do have to
open up,
because we can help, but
you have to open
your
up.
Therapist.
You have to want to.
Like
nobody can make you.
Yeah, and a lot of them expect women to be the ones to break them, and it's just like, we can't.
You have to do it yourself.
We can help.
Healing
but
is a one-person job.
You have to do that shit.
Healing
because I can be right here being exactly what you need, and you will completely ignore it because there are things within you have yet to heal.
Exactly.
And you're not going to be able to appreciate it.
No matter how much she tries to fix it, no matter how much she tries to put it back together, it's not going to work out if you don't do your part. And your part, you are responsible for yourself.
Right.
You're responsible for your own self. You're responsible for your own healing. You cannot blame that shit on your friends. We talking about where it comes from in the root of toxic masculinity, but if you want to change that about yourself, it is you that has to do the work.
Yeah, and not playing victim and looking at everybody else.
Can't blame it on nobody else, like, well, your friends, your mom, your girl, your ex.
Because of that. Because that's not going to change anything. You're going to continue on in that cycle.
Exactly.
And you're not going to see anything different because nobody else is going to change that. Mm-hmm. You have to change how you see things, your perspective, how you move.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times we want to play victim, but then we perpetuate or we allow things.
Yeah.
We don't have no boundaries, and then we get upset at other people for breaking shit when you haven't said nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, who are you really upset at? Are you really deeply upset at you, and you just, like I said, projecting it onto other people? Because a lot of the times, especially in love, like, you'll give so much, and this is where you gotta be careful. Like, if a person is not interested in you, leave them alone.
Right.
Especially when they're not trying. Because I've dated a person who was like that, who was like, oh, I keep dating all these women and they're this and they're that. And I'm like, and y'all be doing this. And I'll be looking like,
what about you? You're the common denominator.
I'm like, why do you keep
sometimes you're attracting that to your own self.
I'm like, why do you keep accepting that? Like, you know you don't deserve it, yet you'll stay and you'll try to fix the person. It's like, that's not for you to do, boo.
Yeah.
If a person is showing you and telling you, because the person, I'm not interested, or I don't really want that with you, but they're still entertaining you, but they're doing that because you're right there.
Right.
So it's like,
so boundaries for sure.
Yeah, you have to set boundaries, and if they don't go by those, understand that ain't the only person in the world. There's millions of people out here, so you can't just set one ideal on all women or all men.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of men who do that. And that's what also help, build up, where that anger comes from. And they start doing that Kevin Samuels thing. Or even if Kevin Samuels isn't doing this. Because a lot of y'all will watch him and y'all won't even watch the shit about y'all where y'all have to take accountability.
And don't do say nothing about that.
And y'all will sit up here and pay attention to the bashing of the woman. And it'll just be like, yeah, he said that. And what he said was true, da-da-da-da-da. But it's just really, a whole bunch of shit.
Is it really? Because when I think about it, it's like, would you speak to your mother this way?
Right.
Any way that you open your mouth to speak to a woman, would you say that same thing to your mom?
Right.
And would it be okay for you to say to your mother? If it's not, then don't ever open your mouth to say nothing like that to a woman. That's overboard. A man does not mean you have to have a hard exterior. A man does not mean that you can only wear certain colors. A man does not mean that you cannot wear certain things. Don't limit yourselves as men. Like, open up to be whatever the fuck you want your man to be. You're a man and you're an individual, and you can be whatever it is and still be a fucking man. You can paint your nails and still be a man. You could wear a skirt and still be a man. Do what you feel is comfortable for you, because nobody else's opinion of what your manliness matters except you. Like, it only matters to you. And block out the other people and influences, because I feel like that's a big part of toxic masculinity, is the voices from other people and what you think masculinity looks like or what a man should be. The next topic was, is there such thing as toxic femininity, and what does that look like?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like toxic femininity is the same thing, but on women. So, like, manipulative women who use their feminine power to control men in certain types of way, that can be a toxic feminine trait. I know a lot of women who use their body or use what they have to get what they want out of men, and for what the fuck is the word? Yeah. Anyway, they don't have pure intentions, obviously they're doing it in like that dark feminine that people want to talk about now. That can be toxic femininity, when you're using your advantages as a woman to get a man to do this and that, when you have no intentions of like being with that man. That could be an example.
Yeah, but even with dark femininity, I think people get it messed up as in, oh, dark femininity, they do this and this and that, when in reality it's like, step on my shoe and you keep trying me, this is what you're gonna get. That's really what that is, the dark femininity is, because she has beauty, but she also has a side where if you fuck with her, she will mess you up.
Right.
That's what that truly is. But I definitely understand that the whole part where you talk about, because people misinterpret and they grab onto things and they start adding what they want onto it and then creating that thing when it's not even really that.
Exactly.
They do that shit spirituality
like TikTok.
all the time. And you
all that information you hear on TikTok, that's why I put it in quotes, dark femininity, because the stuff that you're hearing on TikTok is not what that shit really is. It's just what somebody thinks it is, and everybody's sharing their opinions to be facts.
That's basically what it is, a damn opinion, or what they want to do.
Exactly, what they think it is, and they're sharing their version. But honestly, I just use that as an example, as what some people might view as toxic femininity, because I've never heard anyone actually use that phrase. But I do feel like it does exist. There are toxic females. There is the stereotype of a woman, like those women who are like I'm just gonna do nothing. I don't want to work. I want you to go to work and pay for the bills and take care of me in the house and everything, and I don't have to do nothing. Like, that can be toxically feminine too, because yes, that's somebody's preference to stay home and do nothing. You can do that, there's nothing wrong with that, but also putting all the pressure on your man at the same time is toxic. To be like, you just have to take care of me and however many kids, and I'm not gonna do nothing to help out.
To be a little lazy, because it's like,
it is a little lazy.
Why don't your ass want to do
why
anything?
Wouldn't you want
to
even
if you're at home, like, do you not have hobbies that you would like to explore?
A shop,
makeup
or
thing,
like a business, or
out of that.
Work from home or something. Like, wouldn't you want to do something? But those women who are like, nope, I just want to go on vacation while my man pays for everything. And
now, if you have a man
they be cheating on their husbands in the military and stuff. They be cheating on their military husbands who gone. Like,
but if
that's
you have
toxic.
a man that's literally telling you, no, baby, sit down, I don't want you to do nothing. Oh, okay, if he's suggesting that, okay.
Right. If he suggested, that's a different thing. But women who require that from the jump, like those women who are like, I just want you to pay for everything. Like, pay for everything.
And then it'd be the type of man they're asking that from. It's like, baby. And even if they're at a certain, like, 21, you expect this man to be a build like
that.
Baby, he's not even out of college yet.
Right. I feel like that contributes to toxic masculinity too, when us as women, we expect men to have all these things even when we don't have them at our own age. We was like 19, like, he don't got a car, he don't got a house, he don't got a, like, he don't got his own, like, he's only 19, do you got any of that shit? Like, we expecting the man to have a car and a goddamn everything already assembled. Not saying that we should lower our standards, but it's about having grace too, because when we come at the men like that, imagine how it makes them feel. I can't say how it makes them feel, but I can imagine it wouldn't make them feel that great if they feel like they have to go above and beyond.
Their
worth is less if they don't have these things for you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
their worth is within their pockets.
Like, right. Or their worth is within their pocket. It only matters what money they can bring. And then what? Then you get those detached men who will throw money at you and give you all that, but they don't have no emotional connection to you at all.
But that could be both problems, because I read in the comment where this girl was like, yeah, my dad, all he did was throw us money when we were younger, and now he wondering why whenever we call him, all we want is money.
Well, yeah, because don't introduce us to some shit that you can't maintain.
You set the relationship.
You set it to be that, and then you be like, oh, well, y'all don't ever call me just to talk. When have we ever just talked? When have we ever just talked? You didn't set that up.
When I was young, a child.
Yeah.
That was your responsibility to do that.
Yeah.
That shit is hilarious.
And they be wondering, like, all you ever called me for is something.
We never had that relationship. You never created.
If you set that relationship to be that way, then it is.
Yeah, like, you can't be mad at your children because they are interested in something that you want now, and then the fact that you're probably not even coming to them genuinely about it.
Yeah.
You probably are acting like a victim.
Yeah.
Oh, my kids don't want to do this, right? And it's just like, can you not see from their point of view where they coming from?
Right.
Because it ain't about you, boo.
But it is, because
was about you
as
for
a
the last
toxic
30
male,
minutes.
I feel like it
30
gets
years. And now you want to be like, oh, they don't care. But for the last 30 minutes, you already, set the tone of not having that type of relationship. So it's like,
as a toxic male, it gets worse over the years, I feel like. The older you get, like, because you're holding on to that for so long and you're adding more to it over time. It starts with, like, being a little baby toxic. And then you go up to, like, fuckboy level toxic. And then next thing you know, you're, like, full-blown domestic violence, toxic, masculine. I'm the man.
And that's that shit where
you know what I'm saying? And you got it's your job to stop yourself from going there.
Especially that domestic
It's your job to stop yourself from going there, my man. And women, like, lay off on these men too.
That's
for real.
that control shit.
That's
another thing. When you've been done wrong a lot in your life when you were younger, or you felt like you weren't heard, or those things that literally, it can show in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks because it's like, damn, like, a person that will have that, and then when they get older, they feel like they have to control everything.
Yeah.
So they perpetuate the nastiest of attitudes, or they're very manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
or like you said, abusive, where they feel as if they have to control
or
you.
just hard shell, like emotionless, like they don't care, nonchalant. That's part of it. Them boys who are growing up, I'm nonchalant. That's just how I am.
Right.
No, that's not a personality trait.
Maybe not.
No, don't brag about being the nonchalant one, because we don't. So used to being even though girls might say they want that, that's toxic in itself. Nobody wants a nonchalant person who act like they don't care.
Yeah, and that stems from your childhood, like you said, when you weren't listened to.
You were rejected, maybe.
So yeah, so you probably been rejected. It's no point in me really saying anything because it's not gonna be heard. Or, different things like that. So it stems from a lot of different things, and you can create a lot of different people are created from just that one thing.
Yeah.
It's very crazy.
Yeah.
Because once you start dating people or even be friends and you start really paying attention to how people move, like you observe them really well, you be like, damn, this shit is crazy. Like, because of that happened when you were younger, this is why you are how you are now.
Mm-hmm. Everything stems from the storyline. Everything stems from your childhood. Like, everything does. And it's your responsibility. Like, we gonna keep saying this. You can stop that. It's not a one-stop shop once you become toxically masculine that you just can't change it.
Right,
this is how I am.
Or expect other people.
That's a part of the toxic masculine trait, too. This is how I am. If you don't like it, da, da, da. But you have to be open to make yourself a better person and even see where you haven't been the best person, because the first step is admitting it. And if you can't even admit it, that's literally the first step. You can't go past that. If you can't even admit it and get to a level where you can be like, now what can I do to change this? Who do I need to take out of my life to change this? Because some people around you can be influencing that on you too. Like, you never know what people say can influence what you do.
That shit
how people act and respond to you. It's stuck in your head. They're drilling it into you. Exactly. It can be definitely something that you might need to separate yourself from.
And then when you're healing, the shit come up. Or when you're dating people and you start to reflect. That's why it's very important to reflect and do your shadow work.
Yes.
When we say that shit, it's not
shadow
something that's
so
trendy.
Important.
It's something that you actually sit your ass down in a room with yourself and face yourself for real.
Face yourself.
Like, it's scary, but you have to do it if
demons.
you want to grow and you want to evolve.
You literally gotta walk into that dark
or
dungeon.
just accepting those parts of yourself.
Look at it straight in the face and be like, what are we gonna do about this?
Yes.
What are we gonna do about this? Because you can't just let it keep haunting you.
Yeah, I acknowledge it and I accept it. Okay, so now how are we gonna
fix it? So that obviously it's still gonna be a part of you, but how can you move on to where you can function properly without it affecting you in that way? You might still get triggered. You might still have moments. But overall, you have to be working towards doing better just overall and treating people better. And it starts with that vulnerability. Open up about your feelings. There is a safe place for you to talk. Get therapy. Therapy could be the start of you really being able to express yourself and just feel free enough to say what you have to say, especially my black men, because I know so many black men out here who be like, I don't need a therapist. I don't want nobody in my business. I don't want to tell nobody. Like, open up to someone. If anything, they're not biased. They don't know you. They don't know the people in your life. They can't be biased. Just practice that opening up and letting it out to someone so that you can create that healthy habit for yourself in your life.
I'm trying to find this damn quote because it was literally about what we're talking about now. Let me see.
Thank you guys so much for being here with us and chilling with us. We're going to wrap it up here soon, but we did want to start something with you guys that we're going to do on a weekly basis.
Yes.
I'm going to let Tamara elaborate on that.
I want to say this really quick because this could actually segue into our next topic for next week.
Okay.
I said, because we can cut shit, because I'm trying to make sure this is the right one. Because it was this quote that I had saved, and I seen it last week, and I was like, yes. Let me look for it, because I have it on my notes. just seen it. Oh, here it is. Okay. This is quote I want to share. And it says to confront a person with his own shadow is to show him his own light. Very fucking deep quote. And it's basically saying, like, in order to reach your light, you have to accept and face your darkness.
You do.
Like, how are you going to even know who you really are without knowing exploring every and discovering every aspect of who you are and accepting every aspect of who you are? How are you really going to, ignite your light and really be who you are if you don't explore that, if you don't face all those bad parts
that you've been avoiding,
that you are shameful of, that you probably feel guilty about, that you kind of...
You have to forgive yourself. Are scared of. You have to forgive yourself. You have to have grace with yourself. Mm-hmm. And not be afraid of those dark parts of you, because we all know that there is no dark without light. There's no light without dark. You have to have both, but it's about balance. It's about, figuring out how you can balance out this dark energy and have an overall good light about yourself. You know what I'm saying? But it's not something that you have to do all at once either.
Right.
It can take your time.
I understand. It takes time.
It takes so much time. You can take your time. You will not get it overnight. I
it's
swear.
These people they're guys, so it's in the same topic. They were a part of this cult or whatever. And he's acting like everything good. Like he wasn't in that bitch for 6 years. And he can now want to create his own thing. And I'm like, you're going to completely do the same thing that the last dude that you were following did. Yeah. Because when you didn't really heal anything. Mm-hmm. All you did was take on all this knowledge. And it's another part of toxicity and a lot of things I see in the conscious community with men. Mm-hmm. They'll take a lot of knowledge and that's all. Mm-hmm. That's them knowing themselves. They don't ever really go deep.
Just because they can say what it is.
Yeah,
I have this, I have that.
I know
but
this,
are you doing anything to fix it?
Yeah, it's like we talk about how
fix it?
We're our ancestors, but we don't take the sciences and all of that they created to help us. That's what the shit is for.
Right.
It's not just for you to know, it's for you to embody.
Yes.
And in order to embody it, you have to really face all those aspects of yourself. Like, you have to.
Right, because you can't go around telling people, oh, I'm spiritual or I'm healed, but you still are triggered by your past in ways that you might not even notice. You can tell when you're talking to a man and the first thing he bring up is the last person who hurt him, or how his mom treated him badly, or how he didn't have a good relationship with his family growing up. That stuff is still holding on to you, and it's still affecting you in your everyday.
Yeah,
because we can't even have a conversation without you bringing it up. That lets me know that you're not healed from that. And you might be able to say what it is. I didn't have a good relationship with my parents, and I'm working on it. But what are you actually doing to work on that? Have you sat with yourself? Have you really acknowledged it? Have you spoken to your parents about it? Have you really taken that step to heal that and move on from it?
Right.
And not let it hold on to you for the rest of your life. Men be 40 years old still having the same issues. Because they never wanted to look at themselves in their own darkness.
It's just wow. And it's so crazy because it's like, it don't matter how many lectures or books you done read from body
and women too. This is not just a men thing. This goes to women too. Absolutely. But today we're talking about toxic masculinity. Right. So
because it's something that I see both parties doing, but I see a lot more men do it because a lot of them are the leaders. Like we sometimes pay attention more to the men leaders when it comes in the conscious community because they are the men and they're supposed to be the leaders. And a lot of the times we want to hold on to the what the system does to the black man, which is great. But when it comes to our community, we have to start holding people accountable and doing our things hold them to their shit. Because a lot of the times we'll have people who are molesters, pedophiles, rapists, and we'll protect them just because they're black men.
Yes.
or black women, but
we've seen it.
We've seen a lot of this happen a lot with the leaders.
Many families.
Yeah.
Many families.
And we'll protect them just because we don't want the system to have them. But it's like, we're not doing shit about it, so...
That's no better.
Right. It's like,
because it's affecting the other people in the family. It's trickling down.
Yeah,
and that shit is trauma for all generations.
Right. Like, y'all don't understand how much damage that is to a child.
Way more damage.
That shit...
Way more damage than seeing their granddad or their uncle or anybody get hauled off in some handcuffs.
And then it's like, if you tell them why, I'm pretty sure they'll be understanding.
Exactly.
And be like,
explain
okay.
It, communicate
like,
to
that's
children.
not some shit that we should be making okay, because we really do be making that shit okay. We protect these men way too much.
And that's a whole nother topic for real, because we could really go on and on about that. Just the dynamic of the black men in the black family in a house. Hold, you know what I'm saying, and what that can look like for so many people. But our last topic that we wanted to pinpoint was, can good guys be toxically masculine?
And what the fuck is a good guy?
And what is a good guy? But when I said this, I guess I was thinking like, you know, the man that's the safe man, you know what I'm saying? There's like different categories of men, not the fuckboy kind, but the one that's like the safe one. You know, everyone has the safe guy or that good guy that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing really wrong with him at all, but it's just something that's just, he might be everything, but like, it's just something that's Can these men who are the good guys, or even the ones who pay for your nails, take you out, treat you like a queen, they can still have toxic masculinity? Do you think that that's possible? The guy who's like, oh my God, this is my husband, we have a family, we have kids. Do you think that him as a good man, doing everything right he's supposed to be doing, can still have those traits?
Yeah, especially, I feel like, yes, especially if he hasn't dealt with himself emotionally, he can definitely still embody and perpetuate those traits. Yeah. But for me, it's the ones that claim to be good men and they're really not. Yeah. They're just using
it's the mask. It's the cover up.
And you'll see, like, after, like, even if they get rejected, the way they respond.
They act differently. Or like, they just completely 360 into a whole different person.
Or try to manipulate you or make you feel bad. And it's like...
Or it be the guy that's like, oh, he takes care of me, he's good to me, oh my God, but... he talks to me badly. Like, behind the scenes when nobody's watching, he talks badly to you, or he's controlling, or he tries to control what you wear, or what you can go outside, or who you can talk to. Those are the ones that are in disguise. And like, you fell for it, and then you get with them, and you're like, damn.
A lot of those guys are kind of like, you know, when we call women the broken bird syndrome, what we try to fix. Yeah. They try to do the same shit, and a lot of times it's those guys. Yeah. Where they'll try to, like, take on somebody that they feel like they can
manipulate.
And then now they're
a woman that they can gaslight or manipulate, or who might not have the self-esteem or the boundaries. They definitely target like younger women, or women who they can tell have low self-esteem or don't really love themselves, so that they can manipulate them to believe whatever they want them to believe. All they gotta do is talk sweet to them a little bit. That's toxic. And y'all,
that's the worst.
Y'all deserve jail.
Because you don't know what you're gonna get out of those people, because they'll lie to you.
They'll do anything, they'll say anything.
And they'll be completely different when you're with them, and you just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching a couple of videos where girls will be like, yeah, he told me he was going to do this. He was going to do this on the day, but then he tried me when we were... And it's just like, motherfucker, what happened? Like, now I don't feel safe. Yeah. Because you over here, you lie. And you, like, and then you're not even asking permission. Yeah. Like, oh, are you okay with me doing this? You're just going for it. Right. And I'm obviously uncomfortable. Like, or if I say no and you're just like... Well, that's manipulative, and that's not cool. Like, I'm gonna need for y'all to understand boundaries. Right. Because a lot of y'all don't know what the hell that is.
That comes from childhood, too. Yeah. That comes from childhood, too. It comes from, like, you not learning that it's not okay to put your hands on a girl just because you think she's cute. Right. And you think you could go touch her in the club and grab her by the waist. You don't know that woman. Exactly. You don't know her. It's toxic for you to think that you're a man and you could just walk up to somebody and grab them without them knowing you at all, never spoken to you ever, and you can go and grab somebody by their waist or pull on their arm. That's a no. Stop doing that. If you're doing that, stop doing that. She don't like it.
Exactly.
She don't like it. Trust me. There's no woman out here who like that.
At all.
That's uncomfortable.
And a lot of times we be giving y'all our number because we don't know what the hell y'all gonna do. Because whenever we say, no, we're fine, y'all continue to go. And it's just like, I guess it comes from that thing where we used to be like, oh, men should chase women. But now it's like, it needs to be mutual. Because if a person's not into
don't chase nobody who running away.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna chase somebody who running away.
Right.
Don't do that.
Accept what the person said. The shit don't be having nothing to do with you. Sometimes people don't want to be bothered.
Right.
Like, if I have headphones in and I'm in my own zone, I don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about you, dude.
Right. But that toxic masculinity creates those men like that who feel entitled to that. And that's why women are getting shot in the face for telling a man no outside.
That entitlement comes from like
a man come up and ask you for your number, you tell him no, and he could kill you.
Right. Oh, because you got rejected.
He could kill you because his ego is so fragile. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we're not bashing men, but that's the truth. That's right. Where does that come from to where a man feels like, oh, she don't want me, so she deserves to die? Right. Where did the line get crossed? Right. Between, like, oh, well, I'm not going to want somebody who don't want me. Fuck her.
Because they be like, just say no.
Or
and it's just like, we do say no, though. And y'all will continue to do that shit. It's like, of course, there are certain things that we can do to stop things, obviously. You know, like, for instance, like, when a guy isn't showing is giving the bare minimum, cut that shit completely out. Because when you don't, and this is, somebody else said this, when a whole bunch of women allow you to, like, treat them with the bare minimum, he's gonna be used to that shit.
Exactly.
So when he come to you and you like, oh, this,
he's not gonna know. He's not gonna know what.
Or he's gonna get offended because it's like,
exactly.
What the fuck? Why would I need to do all this when I never had?
When I've never had to. Nobody has ever asked for me to serve more than just this. This is all I know how to get.
Right. That part I definitely would say we would need to be held accountable, but y'all also have to look in the mirror at the shit y'all be doing as well.
Yeah.
Because it can't just be like, oh, y'all doing this, y'all.
Equal parties.
It's not about y'all, like, us saying what we say about y'all is not, y'all have the opportunity to be like, well, y'all be doing this. Reflect.
We do though.
Reflect.
And that's the thing. We do have our things as well, but focus on you and what you can do to
it ain't
improve
about
that
what the fuck another person doing. Because that shit ain't nothing to do with you.
Because if you forgot, black women are winning.
Yes.
If you forgot, black women are winning at everything.
Yes.
Sorry, not sorry. We're winning at everything right now. Not saying all black women, but the majority of us are winning at this shit right now. We're more willing to be open, to be vulnerable, to heal ourselves, to make that progress, to be better. So what is stopping y'all from wanting to be better?
And also, when you are looking
at... And I know there are men out there who want to do better.
Right.
I'm not talking to you.
Yeah.
We talking to the toxic babies.
Right.
That's who we talking to. Come here. That's what we talking to.
Right. And when you are looking at these coaches or whatever, don't just focus on the money and financial aspect of it. Look at the mental and emotional and spiritual, because a lot of times I feel like y'all focus too much on that and then y'all get lost in that. And that's what probably gets you to the point where you're like, oh, I don't want to date these women because they're da-da-da-da-da. And it just
all they want is my money. I bought her nails and she still cheated on me.
Just like,
but like, what was you offering her other than paying for her nails? There has to be balance.
Yes.
A woman. All right, y'all. So yeah, we got everything that we wanted to say off our chest, I think. But the main part of it was that we want y'all to do better. We want to see our men win. We want to see y'all be the best men that you can be. So please, please, please get a therapist if you need to. Talk to somebody. Find someone who you can really be vulnerable with and open up about your feelings, so you don't feel like you need to have a hard shell or that you can't be emotional.
Yeah, we love you and we support you.
Safe space.
This is a safe space as well.
Yes.
So, the only thing we don't accept is bashing. That's it.
Yeah, no bashing.
You know what I mean? Like, we're all for conversations and whatnot. And even your perspective, even if it's one that's not agreeable. It's all about being mature and having that conversation and getting uncomfortable. Because I feel like that's the thing where that triggers us is uncomfortability. And going there and maybe somebody says something that'll make you defensive. But it's important to check that, and that's another thing when it comes to shadow work or just being self-reflective.
It can't trigger you if you're healed
checking
from
yourself, right? Checking yourself and being like, hold on, before I react.
Why am I? Yeah.
What's making me react?
It can't trigger
this
you
way?
if you really heal from it. It won't affect you. You won't have to.
It's super important because even small things like, say, like a lot of times men, when they don't have enough money, they start acting a certain way, and it stems from the masculinity. Men are supposed to have money,
right?
That's where it's
the stereotypes, all of that.
It's important to explore all those realms so you can, because
those things are not real. Those things people say about men are not real. You are a man. You were born a man. If you were born a man, if you're not, then you're still a man. If you say you're a man, okay. But masculinity is what you define it as and what you want it to be. Just don't be toxic. Just don't be toxic with it. Please don't. We're gonna wrap it up, but we did want to share something with you guys. We wanted to share an artist with you. We want to do this thing on a weekly basis where we introduce artists to our fans or our subscribers or our family.
And the artist is a man, and he represents masculinity perfectly. I would suggest him,
perfect balance,
you guys, to watch his videos, listen to his music. He is a great example of what a man of God should be, like, for real.
Period.
He, like, get out, you're gonna get your entire life. His name is Basheer and Anpu together. He just released a new EP, album.
Yes.
Called New 13. You should check it out. It's on all platforms. The songs I recommend, well, all of them are really great. But Men That Protect, New Warriors, I love Happy Tears and Star Systems.
Nice.
Like, okay, so we're gonna
have that down in the description below with the link to his music, and shout him out. Go check it out if you haven't. We might put y'all on
the frequency.
Yes.
With the music. This is the type of music we Black men and women need. We need that. Mm-hmm. We don't need no more toxicity that's helping with these behaviors and perpetuating, because music does influence our behaviors.
Yeah, those futuraholics.
That's the
toxic man anthem. Future,
exactly.
Y'all out here listening to Future.
Music is super influential.
Don't be out here listening to Future all day.
Exactly.
Okay, you gotta know. You gotta have some good positive vibrations. So go check him out and listen to his music. Thank y'all for being here.
Yes, and
thank you. All his information will be down in the description below with all of his stuff. Go click it out. Go check out his music. Let us know what you think. If you like this conversation that we had today, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you didn't agree, if you did agree, leave it down below. We want to hear what y'all have to say, especially the men. Let us know what y'all think and share it with us. If we up here just talking and we don't know what we talking about, leave it down in the comments. Let us know. Put us on game, because we definitely want to learn and know more for sure. That's what we doing here at Astro Relaxation. But thank you guys for another episode. We had so much fun with y'all, and I cannot wait till next week. All right, so we'll see y'all next time.